Hello, it's me, Rookie. Today we'll be going over what the hell is Lord X. He's the weakest Unleashed in the game by far, but even if he's the weakest, it doesn't mean he's bad at all. This dude was so busted, in fact, that they had to nerf him 12 different times in a row because his cooldown was so low and his damage was way too high. He was on par, if not better, than the current admin unit, and it's actually crazy on what you were able to pull off if you had good placements with him on certain maps. But anyways, let's get on to the actual basics of this unit, because I'm going to be teaching you how to use him properly and how to use him in the best efficient way possible and the best teams with him. Lord X's whole gimmick is that he has a chance to apply burn and has a chance to stun units. Pair this with his stupidly good stats, and you can see why this guy is strong as hell. Now, if you watched our 2 tier list videos, you would know that we currently have him ranked in A tier. Now, this is his proper spot, but if you get Chaos Control on him, he easily becomes low S tier, possibly middle S, but I don't want to push it that far. It's really wacky when it comes to him due to his, price, to say. So, yeah. Lord X is the best starter in the game. With the problem with him is that he's very pricey for his upgrades, and he only has a placement limit of 1. So if you pair this with the fact that he's a starter, he all of a sudden becomes a bit weak at the start, if you understand what I mean. If you don't have any supports like Cream or Big the Cat with him at the start, or if you can get them as soon as possible, he kind of loses his main role as a starter, and he's not as good at that job. Now, if you decide to use him as his main role, you should be able to support him as much as possible with the following units I just said. But you really want to have a good placement limit to utilize his burn and stunning capabilities, making him a starter and a support in a kind of a weird way, if you know what I mean. Now, the ideal team I figured out for him so far is that Lord X is the starter, Big the Cat and Cream as supports, Ice Queen Blaze as your second DPS, and Pump Man as your main DPS / support. Now you might be asking, why would I have Ice Queen Blaze and Pump Man in here as the main DPSs? Pump Man is easily, if not the best support / damage unit in the game. His fire damage is a bit weak, sure, but the fact that he can stun, slow, and apply poison all in record time, and he has 3 placements, meaning you can basically have all those at once, all shooting at the same unit, is actually crazy. And the fact that you can also have Ice Cream Blaze in a good spot where she's able to hit everyone, and her massive AoE ability that does her damage over time, a percent of her damage, is crazy. And now you might be asking, well, why do I have Big the Cat and Cream? Well, if you pair this with Lord X and Chaos Control, if you saw earlier during the intro, you saw his stats. That is his stats with a Big the Cat buff and a Cream buff at the same exact time. And the Big the Cat buff is pretty, it's pretty, what's the word I'm trying to look for? It comes pretty fast, is what I'm trying to say here. It's definitely weird how he applies his buff, because instead of applying it to only one unit, he applies it to everyone in that orange little area you're seeing, plus the area he already has and attacks in. So if you want to try and place him in the best spot possible. Now the reason I'm not using a farm in this footage and in this team is because Lord X paired with Chaos Control will already be giving you lots of cash. And this isn't even including the cash you will get from Big the Cat all the time. Now if it were up to me, this team is great for anything in the game as of the recording date, but it's still able to be changed in terms of the units to fit any playstyle in the game. For me, I found out that replacing Big the Cat with a farm is a nice change of pace, and it allows me to start skipping waves easier while not having to worry about losing cash from Big, due to his ability taking 40 seconds for him to give cash. It is a large sum of cash all at once, but it takes way too long, and it doesn't allow you to skip waves, especially if you're trying to go after the community event right now. I'd recommend bringing a farm. Do not bring Big unless it is absolutely necessary for your support. I also found out that replacing Blaze with Snowboarder Silver is not a bad idea at all, especially since she's a line AoE and she's not always going to be able to be used on maps. So using Silver isn't a bad idea, especially with his passive allowing him to go in a circle half the time. Or not half the time, but majority of the time, you get what I mean. Pair this with Pumpman's crazy stupid damage and support capabilities, and you can easily beat majority of the things in the game, if not all of them. And if you're at least having a decent time with your placements depending on the map, sometimes it's just better to replace Big the Cat and Blaze with their counterparts. For stages that don't have any good spots to place them, especially Blaze and her line AoE attacks, I find it really hard to utilize her half the time, with most people placing their units in spots where it would be better to place a Blaze, especially if I'm not playing in single player. With this noted, this is how you use Lord X properly. He's a very busted character, and if you don't know already, whenever the game finally gets its data reset, the only unit we're going to be having at the start, at least in your inventory, is a Lord X crate, meaning that no matter what, you're going to be having Lord X. The problem is that not a lot of people know how to utilize him because they don't like his pricing. He's good, everyone knows he's good, but nobody knows how to utilize him due to his price. If you know how to work it, I promise you, he is the best starter, mid-game and late-game unit you could have in the game as of now and as of this recording. Please enjoy the rest of your day. I'm signing off. This is Rookie.